Hello and welcome back to Our Life Beginnings and Always. Last time, as you saw, we spent some time with the Suarez family again. I will do Boardwalk if it comes up as the pick of the day, but right now we're gonna roll a dice and get on the usual train here. Hope you're doing well today. And we just did 5. That's not on the 3 we done already. Come on, give me one I don't have. Tell me something I don't know. 2. Dinner. I wonder what's for dinner. Sunlight shone through the windows as you sat in your living room, your home phone pressed to your ear. Cove was on the other end. It had been shaping up to be an ordinary day, like any other, until Cove had called unexpectedly. He sounded unusually nervous greeting you. You listened silently as he kept talking, his words stilted. So, I was just, wondering, do you want to come over to my house for dinner tonight? The question came out strangely, almost like he'd rehearsed it a few times beforehand. Your eyes widened a little. You hadn't expected this to be the reason behind the call. Yeah, I'll go. I can't. Imagine if you just said I can't and then moment over. I wonder what happens if you do that. It was, oh? It seemed that Cove still had more to say and you just interrupted him. Oops. Cool, well... He stumbled for a bit, trying to gather his thoughts again. My mom and dad, they really want you to be there. If your parents don't have a problem with it, they asked me to ask you. He took a moment to think. Dinner at home would be quiet and uneventful today. If you really wanted to, you could go to Cove's instead. Cove spoke up again, breaking your thought train. His voice was softer than before. Also, I want you to be there too. Oh, we didn't start the time, man. I gotta know how much time. Can you come over, I mean? Yeah, I can come. I'll have to ask my mom to get back to you. No, I can't make it. Why am I the only one invited, or did you mean the whole family? Ooh, yes, that one. The decision wouldn't be up to you if you wanted your entire family to attend. You'd have to ask your mom so they could make it in time, if they could make it in time in that case. Mom and Dad only mentioned you. This whole dinner thing is their idea. Hmm? What about Lizzie? We didn't know not invite Elizabeth? Having a milkshake here. You pursed your lips, contemplating your answer. Alright. I'll go. Thanks, Marina. I'll let them know when I can. He sounded noticeably relieved by your response. Was you coming over for a dinner today that serious? He spoke to you a little while longer to explain what time to come over and other details, then hung up. And that was that for now, anyway. Soon enough, the sun dipped out of the sky and evening came. It was time for you to head to Cove's house. What do we do all day? Just doesn't matter, because this moment's going to be long enough. Jeez. After letting Elizabeth know you were leaving, she didn't look away from the TV, just grunted. You made the small journey across the street. You knocked a couple times on the heavy door to their condo. Yeah, we didn't even ask if Elizabeth could come. As you waited for an answer, you found yourself contemplating being a guest while both of Cove's parents were there. It was exciting? You were apprehensive. The idea made you curious. You didn't think it would be especially interesting. You couldn't say you were thrilled. It was exciting. We like Kyra Priest's third mom. Let's get it. You had thought today was going to be boring, but it turned out to be much more interesting. You didn't get too much time with your thoughts, though. The door opened soon enough. Cove's mom, Kyra, stood in the frame, smiling warmly at you. This is the last Kyra Priest moment. Hey, Marina. Welcome. Please come on in. Oh, wait, no, it's not. There's one more. Maul is a big Kyra moment. We get lots of Kyra time in this game. Kyra's an important character. She opened the door wider and moved to make room. You stepped inside, allowing her to shut it behind you. Thanks so much for coming over. I know it was kind of last second. Thank you for having me.
Of course.
Just make yourself at home. It's not my home, but I've been given permission to say that. Hey, Marina, welcome to our humble abode. You jerked your head towards the sound of Mr. Holden's voice. He waved at you briefly from the kitchen with his back turned and a large spoon in hand. Hope you're hungry, because I'm whipping up a lot of tasty stuff. True to his word, you heard something sizzling on the stove. You closed your eyes and inhaled. It smelled spicy and savory. With Mr. Holden busy and Cove nowhere to be seen, it was just you and Kyra. She gave you a wry smile. He sure is. Well, I've been barred from cooking the entire time I'm staying here. Can you believe that? She nudged you with an elbow. Mr. Holden scoffed good-naturedly, then spoke from over his shoulder. You're on vacation, Kyra. You need to accept that already. She yelled back, amusement obvious in her face and in her tone. Oh, come on, she can't be completely on vacation. She's got to be doing some writing here for stuff about Sunset Bird. I love this patterned shawl thing she has. People still cook when they're on vacation. Everyone's got to eat. It's not like I'm some celebrity who can go out for every meal or hire a private chef.
Sorry.
Well, in this house, you're a VIP. Kyra smiled and shook her head quietly. Then she turned to face you once more.
Well,
Sorry about that, Marina. Here I was, trying to strike up a conversation with you, and Cliff just had to butt in. I don't butt in. She eyed him, chuckling in disbelief. He wasn't exactly disproving your point with that. Kyra leaned over to whisper to you. It's okay. He likes to be included. But since Clifford insisted on cooking all by himself, he'll have to wait. Two of us can chat. Her next question continued to be said in a hushed tone, just to be safe.
so?
How are you doing? I'm doing good. I'm good. Things are okay. I'm not really sure. Didn't reply to her question. Things are okay. To her credit, Kyra wasn't too fazed by your lackluster response. Let's see if we can turn that okay to great by tonight, huh? She opened her mouth to say something more, but some lightly pounding footsteps caught your attention. I mean, summer's been kind of boring, right? We've had some fun adventures, but there's a lot of downtime. Marina's I think, just okay. He checked to see Cove emerge from the hall a few moments later. He might have heard all the commotion and left his room to see what was going on. He quickly took stock of the situation. Marina, you made it. Thanks for coming. Cove's voice was unnaturally loud, as if he thought you wouldn't be able to hear him from where you were, only a few feet away. Hey, weirdo. Cove frowned at your playful greeting. Weirdo? Yeah, 'cause you're being all weird. He huffed, and he didn't deny it, which meant that he knew he was acting off, too. It was when you glanced away from Cove that you spotted his parents watching the two of you interact. Cove noticed the stares, too, meeting them with their narrowed eyes.
So...
Are we having dinner now? Not yet, bud. I'm still cooking. Alright, I'm gonna go back to my room. As he turned to leave, he bent his head to the side to face you. You coming? The question was quiet, but you heard it clearly. You smiled, pleased that he asked, and nodded in the affirmative. Cove turned fully and made his way down the hall. Have fun, you two. We'll call you when food's ready to go. With that, you followed after Cove, and the two of you made your way down the hall. This was the first time you were invited to see Cove's room. You had visited Cove's room before, but only rarely. Going to Cove's room was a standard occurrence for you nowadays. I think, given the type of people that Cove and Marina are, this is probably the most true. Cove got to the door first, opening it and stepping inside. You joined him. But this is the first time we, the viewer, have been inside Cove's room. Here's his surfboard that he had in that one moment. He's got, for some reason, Hufflepuff colors. I don't know. I like this, all his shells and ships and things and fish, just kind of stuff I had when I was a kid. He's got an aquarium. He's got a map of the world. Cove's got really cool stuff. He looks a very uncomfortable desk chair, though. Jeez. Very uncomfortable looking. That's, yeah. Yeah, I like Cove's room better than our room, honestly. I don't know, like, why Cove gets to have a cooler room. Look at this, he's got a little, like, pad for his stuff to drip off onto. All the sand, because he's always at the beach. They really do that. There was a mat on the floor in front of the door. As you stepped over the threshold into his room, you felt the crunch of sand beneath your feet. And the sensation was nothing new to you, of course. Cove constantly came back to his room covered in sand, not bothering to clean himself off at the front door, and got it all over his personal space. Like, I think they would hang out here a lot. Like, these two hang out. They're best friends, right? We've known each other for 5 years. It's hard to imagine this would be... Marina's not exactly shy about personal space. It's probably, you know, not the first time at all. That's just how he was, a little bit of a mess. You hadn't heard Mr. Holden ever scold him for it, not like your moms would have if you'd done it. You can sit wherever you want. Cove himself took a seat at the edge of his large bed, looking like a picture of comfort, and left you to decide. He didn't sit anywhere. He sat down in a chair. He sat next to Kovan's bed. Ah, the chair is horrible. She doesn't sit. He moved in front of the open bookcase situated in one corner of Ko's room. Is that an open bookcase? Is that what that is? I don't know. Or is it somewhere we can't see it? That doesn't look like much of a bookcase. I mean, there's some books on it or something on it, but... When Kove realized you weren't going to sit, he raised an eyebrow but didn't push the topic. With a silence growing and your gaze began to drift, you stared at the bright fish swimming in the tank. There were a bunch of them floating to and fro in the open space. They stood out starkly against the green aquarium plants. How long have you had those fish?
I guess.
My dad bought them for me not very long after I moved here. I guess it's been years now. I mean, we would have seen the fish before if she'd been here before. That's kind of a weird thing. Wow, that's a long time, but they have to talk about the fish because it's the moment. That's what we do in this moment. He peered carefully into the tank. The fish looked to be doing well. He must take good care of them. Most of them were small, but there was one especially big one. What are their names? I don't name them. Well, not really. He lifted an eyebrow at that. He continued the explanation sheepishly. You always gotta name... To be fair, though, I had fish for many years. You have to shuffle... I mean, they don't have great lifespans. And after you name them all at first, you get attached to them, and then they die off. And then you gotta get more. And by that point, you start getting to the point where he's like, well, should I really keep naming all these fish? Doing this moment's gonna make me late for VC.
I mean...
Mostly, I just call them things based on what they look like. A squirt for a small one, a tangerine for a really orange one, that sort of thing. I've had a lot of fish, and I'm not that good at coming up with names. Exactly. You've had a lot of fish, and it gets to the point where it gets hard to want to name them all, because you had a lot of fish. Even have the fish food sitting there, I like that. You found that funny, you found that surprising, you found that relatable. You found that... Well, would she find it She'd find it surprising. After all these years, he still had trouble naming his fish? That sounded easy to you. You should prepare some ahead of time if he's planning on getting more. Oh, a couple of them have other types of names. He pointed to the small orangish redfish. It was minding its own business away from the others. My dad named her Dreamcatcher, and that other one is Mark. Mom came up with that one. So you can go in there and be like, oh, hi, Mark. Cove smiled to himself, his eyes reflecting on the glow from the tank. You let other people name your fish?
It's nice.
He then turned to you, tilting his head to the side. There was a considering look on his face. Do you want to name one? Yeah, I do. Can I? His smile grew a little at your interest. Sure. There's a few who don't have names right now. The newer ones. You can pick which one you want to name. He pointed each of the recent acquisitions out to you. The first was the smallest fish in the tank. It was completely orange and zipped all over the place, running laps around the others. The second was slightly bigger and red. Its tail was dotted with black spots, which almost resembled freckles. The last fish was the biggest one. Its multicolored scales rippled under the bright light of the tank. It slowly made its way across the vast expanse. You went with... Alright! Lock in your answers now! Which one of these fish is Marina Foster going to name? A. The smallest fish. B. The medium fish. C. The biggest fish. Is anyone out there? Are you even paying attention? Do you even care about this game show right now? Anyway, the answer is A. The smallest fish, because Cove only nodded at your answer, waiting on you to decide a suitable name. You watched the fish you chose closely, and you did. As you did, a name eventually came to you. Frank. Sunbeam. Gil, Marina, Cove, type in your own answer. Let's do on a little ego trip here now. I like Sunbeam. That's really good for a little fast orange fish, but she's... No. Bubble. It's the fastest fish in the tank, right? I know. Alright, it's Dash. With that, his attention moved from you to the tank. He peered fondly at it and its inhabitants. Anytime you get to type something actually in is amazing. We could have named it something really dumb, like, you know, swear words. His attention moved from you to the fish tank. He peered fondly at its inhabitants. You smiled proudly at Dash as it swam through the tendrils of plants and disappearing and then reappearing soon after. You know, I'm not allowed to have pets in my house, not even fish. Yeah, that's kind of a shame. The moms are pretty strict. The corners of Cove's lips turned down at that. That doesn't sound fair. It's not like fish would make a mess of your house or anything. You just gotta take care of the tank and feed them and they'll be okay. Yeah, that's a lot of work, man. Right, my mom's can be strict over the weirdest things sometimes. Yep. Okay. They trust Elizabeth and me to go around the neighborhood alone, but they won't let us have a pet? It doesn't make sense. Maybe when you're even older, they'll let you. I don't know, they seem pretty against it. It's weird that they don't like pets. Your current conversation brought to mind a memory from years ago. You launched into it without any warning or a brief, confused look from Cove. One time, Elizabeth, came back from playing at the beach and just shut herself in her room. She only came down for food, and then she ran back upstairs straight after. It was kind of weird. My moms didn't think much of it at first, though. But then that night, Mom went into her room to say goodnight and started screaming. I actually don't remember what happened in Sorrow's game with this, if there was this story or not, because her character probably wouldn't be this talkative. Unless this is one of those moments that make you act out of character regardless. Mom and I ran over to see what happened. Lizzie had this huge lizard in her arms. Cove's eyebrows rose at that, and he leaned forward with interest.
Really?
A lizard? Where'd that come from? Elizabeth said she saw it half buried in the sand and didn't know what it was. Then she pulled it out and got the answer, so she brought it home. She hid the lizard in her room for most of the day because she wanted to keep it. Mom and Ma were not happy. They worried about putting it out during night. She was going to have to let it go in the morning. Yeah, you can get salmonella from those things. Strange lizards and stuff. I know that, and like other diseases. I mean, if you're gonna get a pet, you gotta get it from the pet store. I'm sorry, I wouldn't pick up a wild animal ever. Lizzie was really quite upset. She didn't bring it back to the beach. She did bring it back to the beach eventually, but she wouldn't talk to anyone for days. That's probably why she's grown up the way she has. When she did get over it, it was almost like it never happened. Yeah, I don't think she ever truly got over it. She's not that kind of person. You laugh thinking back to that time. Elizabeth had always been stubborn, but when she was younger, she forgot grudges quickly. Now it wasn't so easy. I don't think that's true. I think she had a hard time getting over stuff all the time. I think Elizabeth is just like that. Cove had been quiet for most of the story, apart from the reveal of the lizard. He had a thoughtful look on his face. I can't even imagine what it'd be like to have a sibling. Well, we just found out about Derek's siblings. He gave serious thought to his statement before you told him. It's fun. There are ups and downs. You're lucky to be an only child. It's a nice idea in general, but my sister is Elizabeth. I don't know how to explain what it's like. There are ups and downs. It's fun to have her there when she wants to be there, but now Elizabeth barely feels like hanging out with me. Hey! They voiced exactly the way Marina feels in my head. That's so cool. This is exactly it. She wants a relationship with her sister, but Elizabeth doesn't want that. Because it's that, yeah. Cole pursed his lips at the words, considering them quietly for a while.
Cool.
That's interesting. I think your family's cool. He didn't have much else to say. Though while on the topic of your family, you considered your relationship with your moms, too. They were absolutely the best. You got along with your moms. You thought your moms were okay. You found your moms to be difficult to deal with. Marina's often in trouble. The moms are difficult to deal with, I think. She likes the moms too, though. We said this before. She looks up to her moms as, yeah. I think you got along with your moms. You had disagreements with them, but at the end of the day, you loved them and they loved you. That was what really mattered. That's, I think, the most important. Yeah, that's the way of putting it. Well, say what you want about them, but at least your mom's never tried to pay someone to be your friend. The thought prompted you to look over at Cove. He probably still didn't know that happened. You doubted that Mr. Holden mentioned it, and you never had. You wondered if you should tell him. It was a long time ago, but you were keeping a secret from Cove. It's time! I think it's time to do this. Oh, I forgot this happens in this moment. They made such a big deal out of it before, but the way it was worded, it was like Marina would, felt bad. Marina, didn't realize that she was, you know, supposed to tell him then, in that moment. It was more like, why is this even a thing? When she was a kid. But in this moment, since it's coming to your mind, and she realizes she has been afraid of talking to Cove about this. Now it's time. You didn't tell him it was a bad time. You didn't tell him you weren't sure how he'd react. You didn't tell him secrets were meant to be kept. You didn't tell him you just didn't want to have the talk with Cove. You decided to tell him. She was gonna tell Cove the next opportunity she got. Honestly, child Marina might have told him even sooner. She probably just forgot because she was like 8, 6? No. 8, yeah. 8. And busy with her stuff. It's time. We're gonna start this whole thing. You took a deep breath, steadying breath to prepare yourself for the conversation. Now you just had to figure out how to tell him. Cove, I have something important to tell you. You want to know something crazy? Please don't get mad about this, but... Okay, this one.
What?
Cove's brow furrowed at your uncomfortable tone. He turned to give you his full attention. About what? You stared into his bright ocean eyes. You chickened out, never mind. Wow, this is like a video game being like, are you sure you want to do this? Are you really sure you want to do this? You might want to save before you do this. Are you sure? This is a big moment, okay? This is one of the big moments. I know that. And Sorrow keeps being like, oh, if you put it off till later, it becomes a thing or whatever. And it's like, yeah, but we're not doing the romance. This is a thing, and we got to do it in this moment. This is going to be exciting. You told him the truth. So, this was way back when you moved here, and the first time I met your dad, actually. Your dad, he offered to give me $20 to be friends with you. Cove sat still. Uncharacteristically, there was an unreadable expression on his face. His eyes seemed to look through you, and you didn't know what to do next. Then without saying a word, Cove stood up from his bed in a single motion, and he just bolted right out of the room. For a moment, you didn't move a muscle. You were in shock. This was... Oh, no. Your senses quickly came back. You shot into the hall after him. We just ruined dinner, everybody! Cove! There was no response to your call. Oh, man. This man's is upset. This is his mad face. You could see Cove down the way. He had already sprinted back to the living room. His arms were stocked at his sides with his hands tightly balled into fists. You might not have been facing you, but you didn't need to see his face to know how he felt. Cove was furious. His parents were nearly finished setting the table. They greeted him, none the wiser what was about to happen.
Huh?
Hey, what's up? When did you start running in the house? Oh, geez, Kyra's part of this too. This is... Oh, man, we just did a thing. This is exciting. I've been waiting for this one for this reason. Well, I actually forgot this happened, but I'm waiting for this one because I knew it was exciting. I knew something exciting happened here. Are you that famished? You were able to catch up in full and stand near Cove. The parents' words didn't even register in his ears. Their child was wholly focused on another matter. He was practically shaking. I might have to... It's probably going to get even better, though, for as far as faces. Cove took one more step forward and glared up his father's face. You paid Marina to be friends with me? Mr. Holden froze. He looked like a helpless deer caught in the headlights.
Seriously?
Clifford, are you serious? He whipped his head towards Kyra, his eyes wide and blinking rapidly. It was only one time. The admission elicited an aghast expression from his ex-wife. Mr. Holden raised his hands up to gesture defensively. It seemed like a good idea when it happened. She covered her eyes with one hand. It was clear that her patience was frayed, but she was not so shocked anymore. She pissed, too! This is a thing. Mr. Holt... That's another Clifford surprise, am I right? Mr. Holden bowed his head, rubbing the back of his neck guiltily. The fact that she'd accepted this as something he'd do so easily seemed to be the most crushing part. Man, these faces. Cove just stood there, fuming silently during their little aside. His eyebrows furrowed painfully and his eyes trembled. You felt so bad for Cove. You felt bad for Mr. Holden. You felt so bad for Kyra. You felt so bad for yourself. You felt so bad for everybody. You thought this was uncomfortable. I think Cove is number one here, but no. Why are we feeling bad for these people? We feel bad for everybody. This is just an awkward situation. You thought this was uncomfortable. You tried not to get in the way. Maybe that way the others would forget you were even in the room. They were pretty distracted. No, but Marina is upset about, like, she's mad that she hurt everybody this much. It's not that you don't want to get in the way. It's just, let's try one more time here. What about this one? None of this was good at all. It was terrible. There we go. I think this is what we're going for. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, what must have been only minutes, the tense silence is broken by Cove. I don't want to stay here. I think we needed to say that because it's how Marina really feels. She feels terrible about telling him and starting all this, but she also feels bad about keeping it secret for 5 years, but she also feels bad that it happened and that there's all this drama now. She's gonna feel like she ruined dinner. That immediately caught his parents' attention. They turned to him with twin expressions of worry. Hey, wait a minute, bud. You don't have to do that.
It's alright.
There's still your room. We'll stay out of your way, I promise. Where could you go at this time of day? It's almost night.
No!
I could stay with Marina. He stormed out of the house without waiting for another response. He jumped as the door slammed closed behind him. You just stood there. Ooh. She's gonna not go. She's gonna feel too guilty about this. Cole's parents sighed deeply in unison once the door was shut. For a handful of seconds, no one spoke again. Then Mr. Holden slumped his shoulders, his gaze still lowered. Sorry, Kyra. Kyra shook her head, though visibly unhappy. She seemed none more disappointed than angry. I don't want to fight about this. I don't even want to talk about this, honestly, unless there's anything else I should know that's been going on while I'm away.
No.
There isn't.
Fine.
Then fine. Let's give Cole some time to calm down. We can try to convince him to come home later. Mr. Holden's mouth tightened, but he nodded in agreement. He seemed defeated. Yeah, if you don't do this, you have a nice dinner and play card games. I didn't even remember what actually happened in Sorrows. I'm going to have to go back and rewatch hers. Okay. He's still Cove's dad, even though he's not. We know Cliff is his name. You shifted your feet, feeling awkward. Kyra glanced over at you, her eyes widening as she just realized that you were still here.
Alright.
Marina, sorry for this. I guess dinner's kind of ruined, huh? Could you go home for now? It wasn't like you had much of a chance, but you nodded anyway before making your way to the front door. I mean, now she's really gonna feel like she ruined dinner. Thanks, Kyra. You slipped on your shoe. I hope I get the chance to say that at some point. You slipped on your shoes without a word, just as you left, though. Mr. Holden quietly called out to you. I'm real sorry for involving you, Marina. You glanced over your shoulder and met his eyes. The smile he offered you was a shadow of the real thing. You carefully shut the door behind you, letting out a deep breath, then you began to walk. You stopped once you reached the middle of the street. You glanced around, but you couldn't see Cove anywhere. You hadn't locked the door, so it's possible he'd gone inside by himself. There was only one way to find out. You made the very brief trip back and entered your house. By then, night had fully come. It takes that long to cross the street? Really? Cove was indeed there. He didn't go to the hill? Oh. He sat sulkily on your couch, staring at his hands and rested in his lap. You closed the door behind you and approached him, silent. You didn't even ponder what to do. He got up and walked a few paces away from you. The two of you stood tensely together in the middle of your living room. The night really hadn't gone as you imagined it would. Yeah, me either. At least Elizabeth wasn't around and your moms were out. You had no idea how they would have explained the situation to them, and you were sure Cove wouldn't have been up for that. He watched you from a distance. His expression wasn't hostile, but was not exactly welcoming either. Are you okay? What do you want to do now? Really sorry, Cove. You did the right thing by leaving. Do you want to be doing this? You said. I'm really sorry, Cove. Cove shifted so his back was to you, then he crossed his arms over his chest. Are you mad at me? To your surprise, he actually responded. What? No!
It's okay.
I just wish I'd known before, but I guess there's never really a good time to bring up something like that. Yeah, imagine if you waited until you were in your 20s. You're not the one who did anything. His tone was clipped and insulting, though. You're not the one who did anything. His tone was clipped and insulting, though it was now fully clear that none of the negativity was towards you. And we're actual friends, aren't we? Actually friends, aren't we? It doesn't matter if you took it or not. You wouldn't have pretended for just years just because of Dad's money. You nodded your head furiously at that. If there was one thing you didn't want this revelation to do, it was weaken your relationship. Of course we're friends. Cove seemed to appreciate your reassurance. The furrow in his brow eased a little. Yeah, we are. I'm definitely not mad at you. I should thank you for not letting him get to you, and for telling me it happened. My dad never would have. He's always like that. He just does things. He doesn't ask or tell me about it for anything. Cove threw his arms out, his features twisted in frustration. There already was the thing with my mom coming to stay with us for the summer out of nowhere, and that was supposed to be a surprise I'd find out about. Who knows what other things he's done that I've never heard of? Does he even know how to think about what someone else might actually want? He paused, taking a panting breath, scowling. Holy crap, we've never seen this mad of a Cove before. I've never seen him this mad before. Wow. Man. You continue to listen quietly. I'm sorry you have to deal with all that. You're right, that's terrible. It could be worse. Even if it didn't go well, your dad's only trying to make you happy. Oh, she would say... Oh, jeez. What kind of emotional state is Marina in right now, though? I think she's... I think this one is what she would say, though. Even if it didn't go well, your dad's only trying to make you happy. His eyes narrowed. You're right. Wait. The worst part is... I know he doesn't do stuff for himself. He does things because he wants to make people happy. Cove blinked rapidly, and you noticed tears were gathering in his eyes. When he spoke again, his voice was heavy with emotion. But he just makes everything worse, and he's really sorry, and it's like it's your fault for not being happy that he was at least trying. And what if all his plans always being so pushy did change things? What things? Cole finally met your gaze, his bottom lip trembling. You realized that then he was referring to you and him. What if he did what he did made you stay away from me before we even got to know each other? His voice cracked as he forced himself to speak through the tears that began to fall in earnest. He did everything he could to say it, but the words were barely a whisper. This is getting to me too. My God, this is actually choking me up a little bit. I'm not faking this. Marina, you were the best thing about coming here. Cove was honestly terrified over the idea that there was a chance the two of you might not have what you do. You stepped forward and rested a hand on his shoulder. You hugged him. You smiled reassuringly and wiped his tears. Nah, man. This is the time that you actually go in for a hug with your bro. Cove readily accepted the embrace. He wrapped his arms around you in return. The grip was firm. I'm really glad we got to be friends. Please don't cry. Hey, don't worry about it, alright? You don't need to say anything. I wouldn't have let your dad or anyone else did mess things up. But I'm really glad we got to be friends. His features crumpled at your words. You couldn't tell exactly what his expression was, but it seemed a mix between relief and sorrow. He sniffled. Me too. He remained like that just for a little while. Then he scrubbed his eyes with the back of one hand. He gazed turned away from you, growing distant. He's like that with my mom, too. The anger it began to release bubbled back to the surface. Dad wants to make people all happy, but he doesn't. The words landed scathingly hard. You were certain it'd crush Mr. Holden if he heard them. You'd never known much about his parents' relationship, but you thought you understood it a bit better now. I'm really sorry. Do you actually mean what you're saying? Do you hate your dad? I'm here for you. You felt bad things were so hard for your Cove and his dad. You didn't say anything. You don't actually mean what you're saying. I'm really sorry. I think she'd have a hard time just dealing with this herself. Cove just looked at the ground. As the two of you were stifled by the quiet, a thought came to your mind, abrupt and sudden. What about your fish? I remember that day when it happened. Oh. Take his mind off it, or I think we're gonna do that, because I don't think talking about it would be good for anybody. You couldn't forget about earlier that night. The way Cove spoke about them, how he watched them, how he cared for them. There was something special that your dad did for you. It's been really important to you for a long time, right? He can make you happy. Cove's... Oh, and then my AC goes off, so I hope you can still hear me. I hate having that on while I'm recording. I forgot to turn it off. Cove's eyes opened a little wider. A fragile smile tugged ever so slightly at his lips. It was obvious Cove didn't want to think of his dad that way, but it was also hard not to right now. He must be conflicted over where to go from here. Your dad still needs to stop being so forceful, though. You might feel better than you do if you tried to make up with your dad. You guys really need to learn how to communicate. Wow! I'll be on your side no matter what you do about your dad. You stayed quiet. I think this one. You might feel better than you do if you tried to make up with your dad. Cole frowned thoughtfully. He didn't say anything, but you had a feeling he was taking what you said into consideration. I'm going back home. His face was set in determination. There was no way you could tell him to do anything else, even if you wanted to, so you openly nodded. There's different achievements depending on which step you tell him about this in. Wow. Huh. I wonder if that's the thing Sarah's doing.
I'm sorry.
Thanks, Marina. I'm sorry about all this. Can I come with you? Yeah, why wouldn't you go? He smiled lightly. Just checking. Cove nodded and headed outside. You followed behind him. Why wouldn't we make this moment longer? Once again, the two of you made your way across the street towards his house. He didn't pause at the door. He just opened it wide and went in. Cove's parents were sitting at the table, their heads bowed in silence between them. They snapped over at the sound of the door, relieved to see Cove return. Mr. Holden stood up so suddenly his chair squealed across the floor. Cove! Oh, shoot. Hey, now. I didn't know.
Cove?
Kyra got out of her chair as well, but less dramatically. How are you feeling, baby? I wanted to talk to you. His parents looked over him, their features soft. Cove instead stuck a glance at you. You were glad you could be here for him. You suddenly felt you shouldn't be here. Nah, brah. You stared back solidly, hoping you could convey your support with your eyes. She needs this too. She feels like she ruined their dinner and their family. Okay? She needs this. Remember what we said about Derek? We think of this man as like a father that we never had. We told Derek that. Because he's like the cool surfer guy, right? And he's a good dad. No matter what. Even if he has the dumb money thing. It must have worked because Cove stood up a bit straighter. Cove then fully faced his parents. That's why she wouldn't say anything bad about him. She likes Cliff, too. Cove fully faced his parents. Mr. Holden stepped forward cautiously, his expression twisting in dismay. I am so sorry. I should never have done something so stupid. It's okay. It really isn't. That was a boneheaded move if ever there was one. I was bribing an actual child. One I'd never even met before that day. Cove almost cracked a smile, though he quickly regained his composure. Then it isn't... But I want things to be okay anyway.
I'm sorry.
Kyra placed a hand on Mr. Holden's shoulder. Your dad doesn't believe there's something wrong with you, or that you can't make your own friends. He can explain.
I know.
Why Dad did it. He wanted me to be happy, that's all. He didn't think it'd be like this. It was an accident. Kyra sighed heavily. A sad smile appeared on her lips. You're very grown up, Cove. Mr. Holden brought his hands up against his forehead and began to pace around the room. He didn't seem to know what to do with himself. He turned back around to face Cove and Kyra. He looked more solemn than you'd ever seen him. I'm not going to do it again. I haven't done it again. I haven't tried to bribe more people or haven't continued to step over a line without registering. Both! He let out a heavy breath before shrinking down a little. It was impressive because he was pretty tall.
I'm trying.
I don't know, but I don't think so. Cove's throat bobbed as he swallowed thickly. He looked up like he was trying to gather all his courage. When he spoke up, his voice was small but firm. You invited Mom here? His dad's eyes widened. Cove was ready to have a talk he had put off before. You didn't ask me if I wanted things to be like this, with both of you together again for just a little while. Mr. Holden's hand slowly returned to his forehead. He was stunned, as if someone had just hit him. I did it again. I did it again, and I didn't even notice. What's wrong with me? Why can't I just do something right? At least Cove seemed relieved that he was able to say what he felt. He just knew how long he'd been holding that in. It was quiet for a long stretch. Mr. Holden had sat down in a chair. His shoulders drooped over his head and his head in his hands. He looked at Cove and watched his dad, and now genuinely he was struggling with what he'd been told. Cove glanced down at the ground, then he looked back to his dad. I'm not angry anymore. Slowly, Mr. Holden met his son's eyes. I can try to talk to you about things and what I feel about stuff. I stopped saying that to you ever since everything happened. I didn't want to talk to you, but you won't have to guess if you know. Mr. Holden broke eye contact at that, shaking his head. My child shouldn't have to take care of me. You shouldn't have to make up for my shortcomings. Cove, I can fix things. I can still change. After having something of an outburst, Mr. Holden turned his face away and spoke more guardedly. Besides, I'm used to that already. I might not get it right, but not a damn thing would happen in what's left of this family if I wasn't making the effort. It's always me. What's one more thing to manage? Dad.
I see.
You're right, Cliff. I know. But I don't think Cove wants to take care of you. He just wants to understand. He wants his dad to understand, too. That's what matters, isn't it? It was still as Mr. Holden digested what Kyra said. He stared down at his empty hands held up in front of him. When he looked at Cove again, tiny tears glimmered in the corners of his eyes. Wow, it just zooms in on them. He got up and crossed the room to his son. Cove didn't move or look away as he approached. Mr. Holden set his hands on Cove's shoulders, the touch firm, his furrowed brows. But you and I are going to talk about every single thought that ever pops into our heads. For the rest of your life. He shook Cove forward and back a bit. Tears slipped down Cove's cheeks, but he was smiling.
What?
No, I don't want that! Mr. Holden began to smile too. It trembled at the corners, but it was genuine. I'm afraid it's the only way. Kyra chuckled, even as she blinked away her own tears. Mr. Holden turned towards her. You better not be thinking you can get away from this, Kyra. The same is going to apply to you. You can't! He let go of Cove with one hand while he placed his other arm around Cove's shoulders. Then he faced Kyra.
Absolutely.
Oh, yes, I can. He continued to talk as he walked in her direction, bringing Cove along with him. Oh, wow. Then father and son were standing in front of her. Mr. Holden put his other arm around her. Now he had both of them in his arms. We get a cutaway for this, because it's a special moment. Kyra's side profile is kind of weird. So is Cove's. And that look on Cove's face is kind of weird too, but I like this a lot. This is pretty. Why does his... Oh, it's 9580. It's the timer, or whatever. I don't understand his watch at all. Oh, wait. No, it's not. It's upside down. It's 9:56. It's that late, or is it 8:56? It's still, that's really late. The time goes by way too quick in this game. Like, stuff happens too fast. Anyway, this is beautiful. If you think the idea that the ideas I actually go with are bad, you two are going to be amazed by the thoughts I decide against and all on my own. Kyra jokingly changed the concept. Jokingly cringed at the concept. Cove smiled tearfully up at his parents. Okay, their facial expressions even change here. I wish I could use this as a cutaway, but I don't think I want to. Thanks, Dad.
I'm so glad.
Thank you, son. But hey, you know what I'm thinking now? Cove, wiping his face with the back of his hand, shook his head. God, no, you're an incomprehensible maniac. Mr. Holden laughed, not disputing your words. I'm thinking we should eat that dinner. I painstakingly made it. It's salvageable, but I just gotta heat it back up. Kyra sighed in exaggerated relief. Are we still gonna have the whole dinner moment? Is that really gonna happen here?
Can do.
Then we can manage. That we can manage, right, Cove? Yeah. Great, we're making progress already.
Well...
Though I don't even know how I'm gonna start making this up to Marina. Carrying that secret for all this time must have been quite the burden to bear. More like Marina probably forgot until just now. Plus, she didn't actually get any money out of the deal. She didn't take the 20. I'm sure you'll come up with something. Well, we will work on it. Okay. Cove ducked his head and spoke towards you. There was a tiny smile on his face. I mean, again, I'm playing it off as not that she knew and she didn't keep a secret. She just didn't think about it. Like, Marina wasn't, like, you know. Do you want to stay for dinner still? You bet. I was promised a meal. Mr. Holden finally let go of his family. Kyra patted him on the back with a content sigh. Oh, they all changed places. Great. You're very good boys. I'm so lucky. Cove shyly rubbed his arm. Mr. Holden nervously rubbed his neck. Neither could make eye contact out of bashfulness. In that moment, they really did seem like father and son. Cove's family was nice, you thought to yourself. You were glad that you got to come over. Okay, no. We don't have to do the whole dinner moment. Because there's a whole thing, if you don't tell him, you have a whole dinner, and you do, like, cards with him, and stuff, and, like, get to know everybody a little bit more. But no, we didn't do that. We did that. That was a thing we did today, and this is equally as serious of a moment, and then the soiree is big. I think we have to go to the soiree with Cove after all this. I don't think I can go with Derek. I don't think I can legitimately think that she would go with Derek. She'd kind of feel like she needs to make something. I don't know. We'll see. This is lighthearted and fun compared to these other ones. Anyway, I guess that's that. We'll see you next time to see what we get up to then.